Hi everyone, I'm Stanislav Kargin, also known as Vader. I'm a World of Tanks game designer. Today I will tell you about the 9.3 update.
Will there be new HD tanks?
In the 9.3 update, we did remake some tanks with HD graphics. They are IS-7, T-34, ISU-152, M3 Lee, M5 Stuart, and Jagdpanther. We also rebalanced the M24 Chaffee in this update. We have remade the KV-1S tank and divided it into two tanks. Both of them will appear in HD.
Tell us about the new tanks.
Update 9.3 also includes new vehicles, the Soviet, American, and German light tanks. The top Soviet LT is the T-54 Light. The tank is pretty user-friendly, very much like the T-54, but of course it's a light tank. It has better mobility and view range, and it's more suitable for the scouting role. The American top LT, the T-49, I predict it will be a player favorite because it carries a special 152mm cannon. Imagine a really fast KV-2. That big, hard-hitting gun will give the tank a special role, a twist on the playstyle of other top light tanks. It will be able to race around the map, blast targets with that big gun, and really cause chaos. The top German LT is the RU-251. We've been working on it for some time, and finally it will be introduced. This is a pretty interesting post-war tank, also with a good gun. So it's capable of causing a hurricane in the enemy rear and fulfilling its mission as a top-tier scout. All of the new LTs introduced in this update will be rendered in HD, of course.
Which light tanks were changed?
Because we're introducing the new American LTs, we remade two of the old ones. They are the M5 Stuart and the M24 Chaffee. The Chaffee used to be one of the best scouts, but now it will be more of a stepping stone to bigger things, if you will. So we rebalanced it and reduced its combat parameters. However, we boosted one characteristic, top speed. Now it can go more than 70 kilometers per hour. This will let it better play its role as a light tank.
Which tank's parameters were changed?
We've rebalanced the T-57 Heavy in the 9.3 update, following up on changes to the AMX-50B that came in the previous update. The AMX-50B is now capable of doing massive damage from a distance. And now in the 9.3 update, the T-57 Heavy will have a slightly different role, dealing enormous damage in close combat. So it needs to be supported by some well-armored heavies. It has fast reload but average mobility. Since the T-57 Heavy had its advantages, fast intra-drum reload, and reload between drums, so we had to slightly increase the bloom while driving, along with the aim time. The T-92, the American top-tier SPG, was buffed a bit in this update. We gave it back a little mobility, reduced the ground resistance, and improved the dispersion. So the combat efficiency will be about the same, but the vehicle will run a bit faster. The Object 430 also got some attention. We have reworked all three of the top Soviet medium tanks. The Object 430 is the vehicle most different from the others. We gave it the ability to rush in fast and tank, because it has the best armor of these MTs.
How is KV-1S changing?
The KV-S1 will be divided into two tanks, the Tier 5 KV-1S and the Tier 6 KV-85. The KV-85 will be very much like the current KV-1S. It will have a big 122mm gun, but it will be seriously rebalanced. We reworked the aim and reload speeds. The main gun will be a 100mm caliber, so the tank will differ from the previous KV-1S. It will be a bit more interesting with a different playstyle.
Were any maps changed?
We have redesigned the Murovanka map in the 9.3 update. The map is actually good, interesting, and somewhat unique. But the peculiarity of the so-called magic forest was sometimes irritating to both the players and us. The forest was very unpredictable. So we changed the spawn points. Now the spawns are located symmetrically. Both bases will have similar access to both the forest and the hills. In addition, the map is now bigger. We added a couple of 100 meters on every side. The map is now really big, and the light and medium tanks have some space for tactical maneuvers, especially through lines 1 and 2, where the hills used to be. It is much roomier now. The forest also changed. It isn't so flat anymore. It now has some hills. Some trees were removed. Now it has more open space, so to speak. So with these changes, we've removed the magic forest phenomena.
What other changes await in 9.3?
9.3 will bring a variety of small changes. First of all, we redesigned some of the garage interface elements. This includes the top header bar, chat window, and battle selection menu. Second, we remade many effects, most notably tank destruction effects. We have several new effects now, such as ammo rack explosion, ammo burned, fuel explosion, destruction from a fall, destruction from a ram, ordinary destruction. Now they are quite different. We also added some burning effects to map objects. These include barrels, tanks, different canisters, cars, and so on. They will all burn, blow up, and spark. Thirdly, we continue our efforts to address players' unsporting behavior. The 9.3 update will introduce a system that will punish players who are AFK, leave the game early, or self-destruct. Also, we will finally introduce an important and long-awaited feature, the tanking bonus. Now, tanks can get a bonus for numerous shells bouncing or ricocheting from their armor. Heavily armored vehicles will benefit the most. The T-95, the Mouse, the IS-7, and so on. These vehicles will get the highest percent. It can add up to 10% of experience per battle. The bonus will be less for medium tanks, and it won't affect artillery and light tanks at all. They are not eligible for the bonus. We have reviewed the collision models for tanks of Tier 8 through 10. We have separated the engine into engine and transmission. A hit to the transmission will only cause damage to the player's engine, which the tanks can repair. But there's no chance of fire in this case. Besides the things I've mentioned, we continue working on the major new feature, Strongholds. My colleague will tell about it. Hi, my name is Alexander Kurgan. I am a World of Tanks game designer. I work on the development of Strongholds.
How will Strongholds change?
After the 9.2 launch, we received lots of comments, monitored lots of stats, and decided to make some changes. First of all, we're removing the limits for the number of players attached to a structure. Currently, a maximum of 20 players can be attached to a structure. The players ask for an ability for clan officers to reassign the attachment, but we decided to remove the limit completely. Now, any structure can have up to 100 attached players. Secondly, we revised the economy. In the absolute division, 1 unit of time brings less resource than in the other divisions. So we're bumping it up, increasing the resource income for the Tier 10s to 400. Third, we're revising the credits and experience economy. We will have a special promo that will increase the gained combat experience for all divisions for all tanks by 50%. The credit income will be increased for each division. Tier 10 gets a 15% bonus, Tier 8 a 5% bonus, and Tier 6 a 10%. The numbers are not final, but I hope we'll go with them.
Who are the legionaries?
Now, when you plan a skirmish, you can select up to 5 players who aren't members of any clan. Some of your friends can help you find 5 players to play with you. We're calling these players legionaries.
Will there be new structures?
This update will introduce a new structure called the Chancellery. It works in a unique way. We have a great number of missions, and every time you use an order from an orderly room, you will receive one of them. For example, you might need to deal 4,000 damage in one battle and block 2,000 with your armor, or you will need to destroy a minimum 2 tanks for 3 battles in a row. Missions are pretty hard, and you'll have 2 hours to complete them. You get a special reward for these quests.
How will the testing be done?
During the general test, we will reform your clans. All buildings lower than level 4 will be upgraded to level 4, and their storages will be filled to the max with resources. The command center will be upgraded to level 5. This way, we'll allow you to enable the defense mode.
Tell us about testing the new versions of Strongholds.
On the test server, we will roll out a test version of Stronghold's upcoming enhancements, including the ability to attack selected other clans, attacking other strongholds, and looting them. The functionality of one stronghold attacking another is pretty complex, and we want to test how the players will receive it. We have several other options of further developments of this functionality, and we want to test the following during the general test. As a clan, you have to protect your stronghold once a day. You only need to protect one direction, no matter how many directions your stronghold has currently. Once per day, at a time that you select as your prime, your clan will be attacked. 15 people will be enough to protect it as a tank company. If we are satisfied with the general test results, the Strongholds attack feature will be released in the 9.3.